First upgrade to the new Chopsaw. Yeah, we're back at the Chopsaw again. Welcome back to the shop and the channel, and we're back at the Chopsaw again, because the part I was waiting for that I thought was coming came 2 days after I published the setup video. So yeah, we're going to do that now with this new thing. But first of all, this is the box. It's shallower than the previous box. It's wider in this dimension because I want to at least get one side. I can go all the way over to 45 degrees, which I can. I got full motion, 50 degrees and 55 degrees on either side, even though this will go to 60, but I don't think I need that. I did find out there is a way to adjust the saw to the fence, and the way that is you loosen some screws down here, which locks the mechanism in place, and then you align it to the fence and tighten these 4 screws back down. Didn't need to do that, so everything was fine. So what was the part I was waiting for? If you watch my other video, you know, and here it is. Kind of an unboxing. I've already opened up, looked at it, but let's open the box anyway. In the magic bag is a superior dust collection port for this saw from Travis at Shp Nation, which I've featured in a couple other videos, or at least I've talked about in some other videos. And it mounts under here. It's got this nice big slot for the blade, and it's got a scoopy thing right here, and a hose with threads for the flex hose that's coming off of it. And it's got these screws so you can demount it quickly if you need to. Looks pretty good. I ordered the extra part, which is the adapter for the 2.5-inch hose. And the nice thing about this particular piece of 3D printing, it comes with a twist. He did a twist lock in it, which is a really nice feature to have. So you have to disconnect things if you want. That's going to go up through the top here, and I've got this extra flexible hose. It's going to come down to connect to the dust collector port. Get that out of the way. And then, as you saw in previous videos, there'll be the dust buster up there, which will gather the dust, and the shop vac to power it. Now, a little story about that. When I took this whole system apart, and I wanted to clean these out because they've been there for a while, this was full about to here with sawdust, bits and pieces. There was barely any powder in the shop vac, just a little bit on the bottom and on the sides. That was it. So this really works well. Funny bit is they've got a new one of these, a new design, and it's like $60. And I saw someone on YouTube tested it, and it's the functionality and the efficiency is exactly the same as this. So don't bother buying the new one, just buy this one if you want to use it. So the first thing I need to do is find the QR code card, which is around here somewhere, so I can download the video or bring up the video for the for the installation instructions, so you can put them on my iPad and watch them while I'm working. So I think I gotta go get the card. I think it's in my office. Lo and behold, I left it in my office. So let's scan the QR code. Get the camera over the thing. Camera over there. It is. Come on. There we go. In this video. Okay, so there's Travis's video. Expand it full screen. Shp Nation dust collection chute on your Bosch miter saw for models GCM12. All right, so I'll put this over here where it's better to see because I'm doing this over here. But before we do that, let's look at the old system that came on the saw. It's essentially this little piece of plastic tubing that the dust bag connects here. It's got a scoopy here, and as you bring the blade down, of course, it throws the dust up into there, and if you have some suction on this end, it would draw some. But as Travis found and others have found, that, like always, these things don't work very well. They work okay, but they just don't do the jobs they're supposed to do. So let's proceed with, I got some tools out, and proceed with what I need to do. I'm going to look at the video and then come back and do the thing. So the first thing to do is to remove this little gadget, and it's just a few screws. Let me see what I can do here. Get this, pop that down, put in the lock. There we go. And yeah, this has got 2 screws on top of it. My goodness. Okay, that was 5 screws, 2 here and 2 here, holding this on. I guess I could put this in the Museum of Old Things that I'm not going to use anymore. So next step. Okay, the next thing I have to remove is this metal guard back here. I think it's 4 screws. Travis recommends just removing the blade guard control arm, but I'm just going to remove the entire blade guard just to make things a little bit easier for me. So looking at his video here, it doesn't really require doing that, but it gives you a little more working room, I think. So the other thing to do is to take off this guard here, which has 2 screws on either side. And I can see where the Shp Nation unit is going to fasten, because it looks like it matches these screws here, these screw holes here. Okay, this was a little tough to get off because the last screw in this hole right here had a wire, had the power cable or whatever in the way, so I had to kind of joggle around that to get it off. So let's pop this up. So I got that off. Next step. The next step is to remove the adapter here from the chute itself. It's got these nice little knurled thumb screws that allow you to do that. Keep all the hardware. And then this just slides out of there, comes out of there. And let's see, how are we going to install this? Set those somewhere. And for the other side. Okay, what I need to do here is, let me bring the camera in. I know, almost never do this. So this is going to mount right here, like this. It's going to use the original screws that I took out of there. They'll screw right into the whatever the material is he used to 3D print these. Oops. Get a screwdriver handy. No, I can't get that one out. That power cord's just not going to move out of the way for me. So I'll have to do a 3, but that's really solid. So let's look at the next step. For our next trick, I have to install the rubber flap that goes into the pickup scoop. And I've got 2 flaps that came with it. And there's a slot printed into the unit itself. And it came with the screws to lock this flap in place. And a little tiny Phillips head wood screws they look like, but they're stainless steel, I think. And this will hold the flap in place and we won't lose it over time. And it came with a spare flap too, which is kind of cool. So screw that in there, all 4 locations. Now he's put everything back on, the arms and everything. Like, I'm going to leave all of this stuff off until I'm done, just for ease of doing things and stuff like that there. And there you have it. I've got the little rubbery scoop on here. Now, come up. Next step is to take this this adapter for the chute itself, and it came with a nice little flexi hose, and screw that on because it's threaded. The adapter thing is threaded, and they want to screw that on to this adapter like that, and then you screw it on. Oops, don't want to drop it. Screw this on to the yeah, this thing, the chute, the pickup itself. There we go. Come on, get on there. So there's that. Now the next thing to do is to install it onto the adapter that we installed earlier. Back here on the back of the saw scoop thingy, the back of the saw guard, and that's using these red thumb screws that come with the kit. There we go. Okay, so that's mounted in, as you can see here with the scoop there and the hose going out here. I think this is going to go behind here. Let's take a look. All right, so the next thing to do is, supposed to have some zip ties with this. Didn't see them, but we're going to take this flexi hose and we're going to basically fasten it here. I think I want the hose, yeah, back here. It comes with some slots printed into this adapter so that you can run zip ties through it. Let me get a couple of zip ties. So this is what I was talking about. I put the zip ties around the power cord, and that seems like a really good location. I may be able to, I could move it if I wanted. But let's go into more detail here. So this is what came with it originally, and it's a scoop and a hose, but it's connected to the frame back here. So when you come down and forward, it moves with the saw blade, but it's pretty far away from the saw blade, and that seems to be the issue with all of these things. They're either too far away from the saw blade, or they don't have a big enough scoop at the bottom. Now let's go into Travis's unit. Notice that it wraps around the blade here, and the scoop assembly is completely around the blade as well. So you're not going to get any splash off in these directions, usually of chips. And then it goes up behind the motor where my 2.5-inch connector is, and when this hose comes down through here, I'll connect that right there, and I'll leave enough of the hose in here so that no matter where I put the saw, I'm going to get it's not going to interfere with the saw at all. But as I articulate the saw, of course it travels with it, but it's still, you have this whole assembly surrounding the blade and scooping up just about everything. So I'm not going to do a test with this, not right now. Maybe we'll do one in the future. But Travis has those tests on his YouTube channel. So of course, in the description, Shp Nation, I'll find specific video on developing this, and I'll put a link to that in the description. I think we're good. Again, I've got the really flexible hose. Now, let's put the dust collection system in place, get that finished, and we'll do some test cuts. I must say the instructions that Travis published on his website or on his YouTube channel, which are for people who have the QR code, are really, really well done. So there it is. Next test, I got to get this, everything up here, like I said, in place, get this plumbed down, put all the power up here with the switch, the power switch. So it'll have an independent, its own dust collection system, because it's really hard to put these things on big dust collectors because you got to go turn it on, turn this on, turn it off. And with the way you cut things on a chop saw, it makes a lot more sense to have it have its own dust collection. So onward to the top. Let's start with the power. There's a plug here. Obviously, you've probably seen it in other segments. It's one of the original plugs that came into the garage when we built the house. I've put a plug in here, so it's a blank off plug in the upper socket. If you ever cut aluminum, you know why you want to do that, because we don't want those things open to get some metal in them. So that blocks that off. That comes up through a notch in the top and to the switch. The power from the saw goes up through that same notch and plugs into the switch. I'm really not going to dress this up so much here, just the way it is. But now it gives me full sweep without any interference with the saw. See, if you have the regular plug in here and the saw is all the way back, you can actually bang into it. So this way, not an issue. Everything's fine. Lock that up. Now, let's go on to the containers that are going up here. First is the bucket with the dust buster on top of it. Now I'm making a change here. I bought these from Amazon, Powertec Gentle 90s. I'm going to put one here. I may have to put one on. I may want to put one on the vac as well. But I think these, from my observations, these have a direction. I don't know if it shows up in camera, but there's a shoulder in there. Okay. You look in here, there's no shoulder. It's smooth all the way around. So I want the shoulder part of the 90 down. And because of the way this is set up, it will not, it doesn't plug into anything. So I got some of those rubber plumbing connectors for this. And what this, that's not quite where I want it. I want it down a little bit. I want 90. And the way this is going to work is I've got a piece of that short shop vac tubing that's tapered. It's not, it doesn't have fittings at either end. And I'll take another one of these rubber things and I'll connect that here, and it'll go down through the top of the box through a hole just about that far to where I can hook up the flexible hose to the saw to this. And that'll give me a straight up shot and a smooth 90 into the dust buster. So I got the hole punched through. Now I need to take and of course stick it back up there, put that dust buster up there with the its pipe connector in place. Then we can put it all up on top and then connect the hose to the chop saw. So they're up. I got to connect the top to this to that. I think I probably want to get another 2 of these, not soft 90 degrees for this, but I don't have to get those right now. Let's connect this up with a hose. So that top part there is now all connected. The only thing left is to connect the flexi hose here and down to here, but I got to make sure I get the length correct so I can swing the tool any way I want, and the flexi hose won't interfere with anything else, and the flexi hose won't stretch out too far. So let's do that now. Okay, hose is in place. Everything is to work. Looks like it's going to work okay. So let's do a turn on. Make sure everything is awakened. Oh, this is going to be switched. And we're done. Let's just do a quick cut here. Let's find some pieces of scrap wood. Scrap wood. Scrappy wood. So, there's a little bit in here that from previous cuts that I made before I put the dust collection stuff on. But let's do this anyway. See if it's going to work right. Wow. Okay, wow. I didn't see anything go beyond the scoop. Now, I will have to do a test later, vacuum all this out, get all the other dust out, and go ahead and try it to see how it works. So before we go, let me give you a hint of what's coming for this. Yep, can't do it that way. See this? This little thing here that looks like it should hold a light? Kind of a light, a shadow light maybe? I have seen a YouTube video. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to make a shadow light, since it doesn't have a laser, for this saw. So I can get a shadow light, shadow line, exactly where I need to make my cuts. Oh, and I'll make a zero clearance insert as well. So, again, until next time, make great things out of wood. Hook up some dust collection on your chop saw or something, and there'll be a link in the description for all the little sundry bits and pieces I used on this project.